Hi, I'm Mark Braidway from Quality Edge. Today, we're going to go over the shake sidewall installation and go over some details and some insights on how to put it up. So here we are at a clean wall. We're going to start our installation. We've got our shake panel here. We notice it's a 3-course. And we've got our male hook here and our female receiving slot. But before we can get started putting this together, we've got to prep the wall and get the details up. What you'll see here is we've got our house wrap already installed. We've got our starter strip down here. We've got a 3/8 of an inch gap to a 1/2 inch right here to allow the shake panel to hook into the starter strip. Just like that. So we have our starter strip mounted here, and this is our most important part of the system. We've got to make sure that this guy is flush and level, because this sets the stage for the panels that are going to be installed above it. You see here we've got a nice chalk line snapped. We've got our starter strip run right along that. And if this were to get off, as we hook our panels, the panels will start to drift. So this is the first thing you want to set up, and you want to make sure that this is the best and the straightest part. So above our starter strip here, you can see we've got a nice snap chalk line. And what we've done with this one is we've measured from where the F channel is going to go to here. Now you can set this up level, but if our soffit is off a little bit, it's gonna look bad. So what we're doing is we're setting this line here to what the soffit is. So what we have here on this house is we've got a band board and our starter strip. We're gonna be putting a board and band down here lower. If we weren't going to be doing this aesthetic here, you would take this starter strip, bring it to the end of the wall and hang it down about 1 inch, and we could start our panel down with that and work our way up. So now, because our panel starts from right to left, what we've got here is a jog in the wall. So we're gonna have to work around this. So our panel will start down here on the starter strip and end about up here. So what our sider's done is he's figured out that distance, and he's made this custom flashing piece. So we're gonna add another piece of starter strip here. So that way when we put our panel across the wall here and we install the next one, it'll line up perfectly and continue down the wall. We have our first panel installed here. We made sure that we're good and locked down here by the starter strip. Now we're ready for a clip. So our panel here uses a clip. What you'll see is an indented pocket. Now this clip can live anywhere in here, plus or minus 1/4 of an inch. What you want to do is you want to try to get as close as you can to this wall to the right here without letting it climb up. If you let it climb up, what that does is that doesn't allow the panel to sit in here, and it'll make a visual gap. So we're gonna put our clip here, we're gonna start it about right in the center. We've got a slotted hole here, and we're gonna put our fastener right in the middle of that, so we've got room to adjust just before we sink it down. Now that we have our clip installed, we can move on to our next panel. So make sure we've got our starter strip clear. We're gonna take our panel, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it just forward of the clip. We've got a little tab here that we got to make sure that we get into the slot. And at the same time, we want to make sure that we're hooking onto the starter strip. So I got the starter strip, I'm almost into the clip. Start this part here up to the right, in, and over. And we're installed. So we've got our second panel hooked to the first. We want to double check our points, make sure we're locked into the upper, the clip, and the lower starting flange. And we want to make sure that we're holding this tight up against the starting strip. So what I like to do is I like to start in the center and work my way out. And that keeps the panel from wanting to walk or go in any other direction that you don't want it to go. So I've got this panel started here, and we're in the clip. We're in the female lock here, and we're hooked, but we're getting a little bit of a gap. So sometimes the walls aren't quite straight, so what we need to do is we're gonna take this guy off, And what I want to do is I'm going to put a bit of a bow in it so we can get some pressure against this overlap. What I like to do is take the panel, hold it against my chest lightly, and get a slight bow to the panel. So what that does is that puts pressure on the overlap. So if I hold it up here, you can see that it's pulling out. And now that we've got that nice down pressure against the seam, you don't see any of it and it looks great. Now we're ready to start our second row of shakes. So built in to the design of the panel is if you take this stock edge of this panel and line it up over a hole, plus or minus about a ½ inch, or between the center of the two holes. Here. And what that does is that maintains the masonry look of the separations between each shake. So what we've got here is we've got a finished wall, and one detail we wanted to point out is that we didn't use any J channel up by the soffit or the F channel. So we've got our panel was installed first, ran up the wall, and then we installed our F channel over top of it. And it gives it a really clean look, and it eliminates the J.